full moon. Loving the full moon. You can see Jupiter to the right there. So listen. Under the last full moon we had was the Gemini full moon in December, right? Which was a portal jump for me. And a lot has happened since then, right? Underneath full moons, truth rises whether you want it to or not. Right? Moonlight doesn't negotiate. Right? Moonlight does not negotiate. Priestesses, witnesses, daughters, sons of your own becoming, magical ones, okay? This is for you. You are not required to carry guilt for damage that you did not cause. You understand me? Guilt belongs to choice. Responsibility belongs to action, okay? And conscious, it's not a landfill for other people's wreckage, right? When you cut ties with people or sever relationships, people will make you out to be the bad guy, okay? There are those who will bruise you with their behavior and then ask you to bleed quietly, so they don't have to feel it, right? They will lie, they will betray, they will raise their voice until your nervous system forgets what calm feels like, okay? They will take your energy, your magic, whatever it is that you offer freely, right? And still reach for more, as if your spirit was an endless well. Okay, I'm in my 50th fucking year realizing my power and my energy and how sacred it is. Okay? When you finally step back and stop feeding what is harming you, they're going to call you cruel. Right? They're going to say you abandoned them in the project. They'll call it destruction. But let's be real here, okay? Let's name the destruction properly, okay? Destruction is not leaving. Can you hear the coyotes? I can hear the coyotes. Destruction is not leaving. Destruction is erosion. It's the slow wearing down of trust, the repeated violation of boundaries that have been explained, and people keep pushing the date. The subtle dismissal of your emotions until you begin doubting your own perception in the project. Destruction is being punished for asking for respect, right? Destruction is kindness being treated as obligation instead of a gift, right? You didn't force their hands. You didn't write the script of their behavior. You didn't make them choose comfort over accountability. You simply stopped being the place where consequences were delayed, right? So psychology has taught something to me that the witch in me has always known, right? People who cannot face themselves will outsource the responsibility. They will look for an empath to carry their shadow. They will press on your compassion because it opens up easily. Not because you're wrong, but because you're humane. Right? So I love sitting outside in full moons. Yeah, they'll cry real tears. Yeah, they'll sound convincing. Their pain may be genuine, but pain is not proof of innocence. Emotion does not erase impact. And shame doesn't equal change. It just doesn't. An apology that still asks you to be silent is not remorse, right? It's a contract for continued access. Witch wisdom is real plain about this. If a spell still requires your self-betrayal, it's not healing magic. It's binding. Someone can be suffering and still be manipulative. Someone can be wounded and still wound others. And someone can be afraid of consequences and still deserve them consequences. The moon doesn't cancel gravity just because the night feels heavy, right? Reality's still here, still arrives. If their pain appeared when you said no, that pain is not evidence that you were wrong. It's the sound of a door closing on behavior that was never meant to live rent-free in your life. You're allowed to hold compassion without reopening wounds with people. You're allowed to recognize their humanity without surrendering your own. Fuck that. You're allowed to wish them healing from a distance that keeps you safe in the moonlight. Psychology calls this differentiation, right? Differentiation is the word I love so much. Witchcraft calls it sovereignty. Forgiveness is not a summons back into danger. Love that requires you to accept mistreatment is not love. It's a measure of how much you will tolerate before you disappear. Watch closely in 2026 how guilt is weaponized. Okay? They'll bring up good memories of if moments cancel patterns, right? People will recite trauma as if suffering is a license to create more suffering. And if your nights were not long, if your tears were not real, and your patience wasn't tested, you might not understand this teaching. The consequences they're facing is not malice, okay? It's their timing and what they needed to go through, right? If they lost your trust, that's not an attack. That is trust behaving exactly as it should, earned, fragile, responsive to behavior. If they lost your present, that's not abandonment, that's self-preservation. If they lost their image, their comfort, their control, that's not cruelty. That's truth stepping into the light. The moon doesn't destroy illusions. Illusions destroy themselves when the light arrives. There will be moments when your tenderness turns inward and accuses you. You will remember who you hoped they could be. Your chest will ache with the version of the future you tried to build. That grief is real, guys. Honor it, but do not confuse grief with guilt. Your boundary is not punishment, it's protection. Your distance is not revenge, it's recovery. Your refusal to carry their shame is not coldness. That's the beginning of self-respect. If change were truly happening, it would not require your sacrifice. Growth doesn't arrive blaming the person who finally stood up. Transformation does not demand a victim return to prove it worked. And real accountability, you guys, sounds like ownership, not accusation. It sounds like action without audience. It does not ask you to swallow your voice so someone else can keep their pride intact. So under the full moon, these words will seal themselves into you like a vow. If you're here with me listening, I will not accept guilt for choices I did not make. I will not confuse another person's distress with my wrongdoing. I will not pay for someone else's behavior with my safety, sanity, or my worth. I will not. I will grieve what I hoped for. I will release what harmed me. I will walk forward with clean hands and a clear spirit, leaving accountability where it belongs. The moon is watching, and she knows the difference between mercy and self-betrayal. It's the moon. She knows. Can you hear the coyotes? So tonight in the moonlight, I will not feel guilt. I will not feel guilt for protecting myself. I will not feel guilt for investing in the future of the matriarch. I will not feel guilt for who and what I am just because someone else got their fucking feelings hurt because they couldn't step in time with me. So enjoy tonight's full moon because you are loved.